See the light on you. So I think all buildings very interesting in also a way because they will make sure every part of the building gets sunlight at one point. That is without intrusion. If they are not closed, if they are not, so at that point we can see here. And if you come at different parts of the day, you can see the light in different points. But we should keep in mind what if the light was there and this was a cinema theatre and they had moving upholstery at that time to close the lighting when movies used to be there. So I have two, and I always how it be now if we screen something and we look at like the old day sitting down and looking at the screen and all that. So yes, here. So I have two old advertisements which I would like to read, which would talk about the importance of the place. So the Electric Theatre, Mount Road, and this is from 1919, and they mentioned that the first screening would be here, then in other places. So that is how sometimes we feel like, okay, the first book comes to this library and then goes to the other library. So this was a pride place where they would always say, okay, the first screening happened here. And like I mentioned that old movie archives or old newspaper archives, if we see in lot of places, you would definitely see a reference of electric, and we don't have other theatre references like this. And we can see modern theatre references with different steps and all that. But in the old way, this is the only building we can look at that. And outside, we don't see much of embellishments, but inside we can see a lot of embellishments, lot of minute details if you see. We spoke about asymmetrically symmetrical there, but this building can be as symmetrical as ever. It is properly symmetrical and each of the space has different positioning and all that. And living heritage structures always survives, right? So this building, after becoming the Philatelic Bureau, got a lot of attention and a lot of people visit both for the Electric Theatre, but mostly for the special cancellation, and we have a lot of visitors for the special covers, the different Jamakalam covers or the different patterns. And I would like to add that when we work with the visually challenged, it was very interesting for us to buy the special covers because it was also tactile. So ma'am and sir would have seen us a lot of time here bringing different groups of children, and I think those special covers need to come back because we have huge fan following, not just by philatelists and postal collection and all that, but a lot of children and a lot of people, and the tactility made so much of difference. And few things to note here in terms of architecture is the archway, which brings in a lot of light. But we should understand that the earlier building we saw was much earlier. So this is younger than, so this is the youngest building of the three buildings which we saw today. So again, the note, the different purpose keeps it going. So when you look, please have a look around the building so that you can look at the different doors that side and doors this side, and try to visit it different times so spot where the light falls also. So if there are any specific questions, I will be happy to answer. And these papers are right here. If someone wants to look at, please, we will. Electric, which is first show. And I got one Tamil one also. But இது வந்து ஜேடி தியேட்டரோட போஸ்டர். பட் அதில் கீழே என்ன ஸ்பெசிஃபிக்காக போட்டிருக்கோன்னா, அகெயின் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்க்ரீனிங் இங்கே, மற்றதெல்லாம் வந்து இன் அதர் தியேட்டர்ஸ். ஸோ திஸ் வுட் பி லைக், ஓகே வி ஹேட் அ ஸ்க்ரீனிங் தேர். ஸோ இப்போ நம்ம சொல்கிறோம்ல, வி ஆர் இன்வைட்டிங் அ செலிபிரிட்டி அண்ட் திங், ஓகே ஒரு செலிபிரிட்டி வந்திருக்காங்க அண்ட் தென் த நெக்ஸ்ட் பர்சன். ஸோ வென் இட் மீன்ஸ் இட் இஸ் screened here, that adds value to the movie itself. So if you just mention the different pictures, you can see this is an old picture. So I'm just passing on. I'm just passing on. No, I'll just find out English movies, so I'm not getting the right one. This is 1912, but the screening and all was 1914, 15. during independence time till like the early 50s, but then the dwindling of anything, like the talkies happened. See, the silent movies and the talkies. Not small. Actually, the crowd, no, it was a smaller crowd, and we should understand we were sitting in down. English, some Tamil movies also. Yeah. Started.
It's not here. Permanently we are using this rubber stamp. Okay, selfie. Banner. Photo. So the tactile sessions. Yes. I mean, the side, that's all. So this was a very brief talk, but any further questions, I'd be really happy to be here. And also, these are also the opening doors this side. So someone would say unusual number of doors, but I would say for this kind of architecture, for this theatre, I think this is the right number of things, and that is rightly bringing out the essence of the place also. And I think we'll head to the cancellation now. Sir, I was mentioning no custom upholstery for closing. So they also had these huge screens which would run like a line, so they can just close it.
Very conscious stamp people are put.
Yes.
Very safety conscious.
And
Distancing, ventilation, all safety.
And also, unlike the theatres that they just replicated, the theatre they saw there, climatically room fell out. So they just replicated what they saw there, but with the trying to understand. If you ask me, this is Indian, this is actually Roman style of columns. So they thought these could add that Indian value to this. Angela, yes.
That much.
And the furniture for where it came from. This is not a very like the furniture we saw there from 1800s, no? But in 1900s again, the interesting aspect is when you see broader ones. So the Victorian women they wore on the layers of clothing, no? So when they have to sit, you need that breadth. But then when their number of layers started lessening out, it was difficult to sit on the rattan, right? Because it was thin layer. Then the upholsteries came in. How a furniture or a chair here has an impact of fashion evolution there is very interesting because we were one of the colonies, right? So the designs would directly come in. But a very typical detail here is lot of children, if we ask, they tell us that this looks like a chess coin, right? And in some chairs it will be here, in some chairs it will be here, and in some chairs it will be here. And those were all different details inspired by the architecture of the building to add here. And I am just wondering if this is an actual part of the theatre or it came from one of the post offices here. And if we look at the Kanimara old section, we all know Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. All the furniture there are based on the book. So you can see different animals there on each of the furniture. Each Kanimara, the library ma'am in museum. Yeah, and the old library has like furnitures with the animals, like not actual animals. The animals he imagined, and even the different sections would have different details of that.
So I think through furniture, understanding Madras is very, very interesting. But I always say someone wore some frocks that side and our chairs are inspired by the same. But I'm very happy to see the actual rattans here and not plastic. Yes.
It's like
Yes.
in the middle of all the revolving chairs and
Yeah, that's what it's separately seen.
the puja is
Rattan, the actual
not in the
rattan.
middle of this.
Bamboo.
It's not the.
Bamboo.
Yeah.
Bamboo.
It's different from the usual. It looks like the original stuff. It's not changed.
Yes.
You can take it to my office if you like. You don't have space here, right? There might be more.
Yeah, modification and
Either visitors chairs, Madhuri keeps. Let everyone see.
this is our
No, because here it's looking very odd in the middle of all this.
who is there?
So we do that.
Malapiri.
Steel aluminium.
You want that to be the background? We can make the window and the window is the
Of course, she has to adike, no? It's okay. We'll block it with Muttu or something. Muttu, please come. Block this angle. The blue color is a very strange. I've not seen this color.
Cancellation of the
The back is so I had it over to her.
Finally, we reach your destination.
Please show the passport.
வீடியோ தான் இருக்கு நீங்கள் சொல்லுங்கள்
One second.
No, Angela madam. Angela madam.
And now you make sure. Here is modern technology.
Yes.
Now we can take it, right? It's ours.
Release. After release.
Okay. No, for the photo.
Photo.
சார் சார் மேடம்
Madam, 1 second.
இங்கே பாருங்க
Click on the chess. It looks like very odd.
Sir,
cancellation பண்ணுங்க அங்கே கொடுத்து அப்படிங்க பாருங்க
Thank you so much. Sir, இங்க பாருங்க. Sir, இங்க பாருங்க. Sir, இங்க பாருங்க.
So where to go?
இது இப்போ மாடல் லேட்டஸ்ட்
அது அந்த ரவுண்ட்
அது இந்த ஆஃபீஸ்க்கு கொடுக்கல இது கொஞ்சம் கிளியராக இருக்கட்டும் நீங்கள்
ஆர்கிடெக்சர் சார் ஆர்கிடெக்சர் அர்பன் பிளானிங் அப்புறம் வந்து எம்ஏ ஹிஸ்ட்ரி இது நல்லா
And all present here, respected Chief PNG ma'am, DPS headquarters, DPS CCS, all officers of our department, CPM ma'am, and my dear colleagues. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming you all to this short and sweet postal edifice walk. Today, as a part of the pre-promotional activities for the forthcoming Tamil Nadu State Level Philatelic Exhibition TANAPEX-2025, Tamil Nadu Circle has organized this postal edifice walk. The team headed by our Chief PNG ma'am has visited 3 most ancient post office buildings in Chennai city, the Red Building of Egmont, GPO and Anarod Philately Bureau. Should be shortly releasing a special Philately collectible, a passport. At this point, we would also like to make a special mention about the curator, Ms. Tirupura Sundari Sevil, who is an architect and urban planning specialist. She is running an architectural consultancy and a social initiative called Nam Veedu, Nam Oor, Nam